Welcome to the Friday Power Lunch, a weekly show amplifying the voices of the Virginia grassroots. Each week, we provide engaging conversations about politics, culture, and women making change. Produced by the unstoppable women of Network Nova, our motto is, when we vote, we win. The Friday Power Lunch is recorded before a live Zoom audience. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and show us some love and become a sponsor through Patreon. The Friday Power Lunch. Badass women getting things done.
So thank you for tuning in today, and let's get to the show. It is October 20th, folks, believe it or not, and welcome to the Friday Power Lunch. I'm Catherine White. I'm bringing you the guests, the issues, the action, amplifying the voice of the grassroots to get things done. And yes, we're going to have some fun. And today's theme, it's pretty exciting because we're talking about polls, and CELINDA Lake is here, and this is going to be exciting. A lot of you that do messaging all know about the work that she does for the Lake Research Partners. So I'm so excited to talk to her. And one way or another, we're going to get out the vote with the other guests on the show, because we have the founder here of Blue Voter Guide, Wayne Liebman, who is just awesome and is going to talk about why this is so important with the challenges we have around the ballot, how many people are on the ballot, that being informed is going to be our best weapon in a way because we need to educate voters. So we're glad that Wayne's in the room. And Missy McGinnis is here. She's the director of distributed organizing for Red, Wine, and Blue. And we know that they're good troublemakers. And this is kind of cool what they're doing now and for the election in 2024, organizing women across the nation. We're just going to build that brand and get more women using tools and making sure that they are also getting strong for the presidential that'll be coming up. And then lastly, not new to this show and new to our work is SwipeBlue. We have Jenny Fristick here. Jenny, welcome. She's going to be talking about that app some of you are already using, and I know that Stair loves. And then lastly, Trish White-Boyd is here, Senate District 4. Sam Rasoul is here, House District 38. And Lily Franklin is not going to be able to make it with us today, but we know that we will see her later. So how exciting. I hope you have your favorite beverage. You maybe are texting and phone banking while you're on this. That'd be great. But the rules of the road, use the chat, have fun, talk to each other. But if you get a little bit nasty, the boss will kick you out there, no problem. And then our favorite part, the after chat. We love it. If you can stay till 1 or after 1, we will love to get in community with you. This is so important to share what you're doing, what you're seeing on the ground, and some of our guests will be able to stay. So that will be great. And then also support the show. Be a patron. We're on a Patreon subscription, and this really helps keep our lights on, invest in what we do. It really helps us do our work. We don't have any kind of sponsors. We don't take corporate money. Hey, but if you have some, just let us know. Maybe we will. I don't know. Just teasing. All right. So Dolly Lenga, thank you for re-upping as a patron. We like you, Dolly. We love you when you come in the after chat as well. So speaking of our little ideas of what we want to do, new campaigns. I want to bring up Fennell Norton, who's my partner in trouble. And let's talk about some of the great trouble we're going to be making with this 15 days of Pink Virginia.
Yeah. I am so excited. I told you earlier
about it.
that
Yeah.
I want to feel the ground shake under my feet. There's a song, but we can do that next week. But I want to feel the earth move under my feet. And we got 15 days to do that. And I say to do that, you got to kick some dirt up yourself. So The first one that I'm so excited about is on the 24th, when we're going to dial 100,000 women across Virginia. And we need everybody all over the country to support us in that. What do you want to say, Catherine?
No, I'm just excited. I'm like, that is so awesome. So give some context, everybody in the room. You know, we always like to come up with the plan. No one's saving us. We have to do it. Hello, right?
Yeah.
We say, like, why isn't the party doing this? Well, guess what? We're the party. That's what we do.
We're the party.
Okay, let's blast out the last days of this election. So we are starting at October 24th. That will be our launch day for the Pink Virginia. If you're an organization in the room and you want to be a part of that coalition, let us know in the chat, and then we will put you into the Google form and you can join it so you can amplify and get people to join the actions. Every day, we're going to send you an action or two to do. Some of that will be fun. Even how you decorate your house for Halloween, paint your pumpkins pink and put on their vote. We want to signal that people have to vote. We want to make them feel that threat to get off the couch and get out. So we've come up with 15 days to Pink Virginia.
Yeah, and Catherine, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'll say, so the 24th, I'm really excited about, but I'm excited about everything. Whoever wants to join us in whatever these activities are. It is the little things. You said earlier, every time you're in front of an audience, say something about getting out to vote early. Say something about taking someone with you. We can build the excitement. Individually, everybody can do something. But the 15 days, we're giving you something to do. What else are we going to be doing, Catherine? We're going to be texting too, right?
Yeah, we're going to do texting. We have Abigail Spanberger, the Congresswoman, will be joining it for the Women Talking to Women. So join the room. Abigail, it's kind of crazy in the House right now. Talking to people in the House, I can't imagine what's going on with the world news, and that the no House Speaker, and we have to look like, a country, a functioning country. Thank you. I would like to show some of the graphics that we have made. So what we're encouraging people to do in this campaign, we'll have social media graphics. We'll have days where we want you to just blast this out, change your profile pic. If you can show some of that, Robin, we also encouraging people to print out. We have printable flyers that we will have a link to all this. So you can print out flyers and we'll have a challenge. Go out and hand out 100 of those flyers to people. And that's what, just talk to voters. And a lot of this is voter education because of our ballot issues, people not knowing how to fill it out, and maybe even if there's election. And then we'll have the social media campaign where we'll be making graphics. And please, if you're an organization, want to make some of your own, defend democracy, change your profile picture. We need to show our friends and family that there's an election and everything's on the line.
Yeah, and Catherine, the last thing that I'll add is it's the little stuff. Don't assume that what you say doesn't matter. Like, for example, lots of people don't know that they can take the sample ballot in with them so that they can mark it. So just give them facts and things to make it really, really easy. The easier we make it for our friends and family and voters, the more likely they are to get out and vote.
Yeah, exactly. And last, I want to say to everybody, wherever you are, and that means you too, Sam, I see you over there, and I know you're doing this, is that we got to just tell people, have you voted? Oh, you haven't? Well, you can vote early. If voting early starts, and why is it important? And then can you tell 3 or 4 friends, to vote? If they need any help, it's going to be us. This is such a interesting time with so many people on the ballot. A lot of people don't know who's on the ballot. So we are educators in this room. And I think that telling people also that on election day, if they don't really know how to help, go volunteer at the polling place, contact your Democratic Party, and that's the easiest thing to do. That was where the battle line will be, is talking to voters on election day. That's where we'll win the election if we are covering all our polls.
And then the last thing, I promise the last thing, then Robin can swipe me away. I
didn't hear the rooster yet, though. I
know, we haven't heard the rooster. Oh, you see, there's the rooster. There's the rooster. But I was going to say, and tell everybody everywhere, the most important election happening right now anywhere is Virginia. Everybody should be focused on Virginia. We are the most important thing. We are the thing that's holding us between now and Trump. So Virginia is where your action should be right now, no matter where you are.
Yeah, and at the end, we're going to save our Senator Lucas making it a really good point of keep our hands off of our Virginia, as we say, and your politics off of our bodies, right? So thank you, and let's get up our next favorite super person who's going to talk about the Virginia election, and that's LUISA Boyarsky, great leader. Okay, let's talk about, I know I saw your list when you sent out all the actions, and all I have to say is we don't lack things to do. So I'll let you ask.
Yes, so many opportunities, right? Yes. Actually, one of the things I want to start with, something we haven't discussed yet on the Power Lunch, is what you can do at the polls, right? I'm already starting to hear concerns about, Democratic sample ballots that aren't Democratic sample ballots being handed out. I've been hearing concerns about intimidation at the polls from the other party. So one of the things I just want to remind people, we're getting closer to more of the satellite offices opening, and then of course, Election Day on the 7th. If you have not already contacted your local Democratic committee to see if they need help being a poll greeter, please do so. Poll greeting is so important. And as we know, because we have those local elections on the ballot this year, we need to get that sample ballot in as many voters' hands as possible, because otherwise they get to the ballot box and they're like, oh crap, I don't remember which of these 4 people running for county council is actually a Democrat, right? Don't remember which of these folks on school board is actually a Democrat. There was a great link that was in the chat a couple of moments ago with a guide on how to consider voting in the school board races. So totally recommend checking that out as well. So I think part of our role is just educating our friends and neighbors about who's on the ballot and making them feel comfortable and excited about voting this year. And so that's step 1. Once we've accomplished that, or it's part of our work, we then really need to talk to voters. I'll be interested to hear what Celinda thinks about the polling, but what I found in recent years with polling is, it can only be so accurate, right? We can only learn so much from a poll in order to tell what's going to happen in that election, right? You can have a candidate polling well, but if you're not talking to voters, it doesn't really matter if they have name recognition if the person isn't going to go vote, right? So we really need to, in these last couple of weeks, get in front of voters, make sure they know how critical their vote is this election, and make sure they have a plan about when and where and how they are voting. So what I'm going to do, as usual, is put in a lot of opportunities for you to get involved over the next couple of weeks, either canvassing, phone banking, or there are also just some fun activities that are planned down in Chesapeake, Virginia. And as you know, Chesapeake is an area with some really important races, including the Karen Jenkins race. And so just later today from 6 to 7:30, they're doing green issues and environmental social justice conversation in Chesapeake. Karen Jenkins is going to be their special guest, but it's supposed to be just a lot of fun and a chance to talk about issues that matter. Another thing that they're planning down there next week on Friday is the Fall Fest Vote-A-Rama, because why not go and have fun and make plans to vote? So remember, some of this is showing up to make sure that when people arrive, they're like, oh, we've got a community, right? We've got Democrats who are out here, and they're people who care. So obviously, as you know, I always push canvassing. So if you can get to knock some doors, that would be the most important at this moment. And a lot of these campaigns, they just have a ridiculous number of shifts that they need to log between now and November 7th. Like I was talking to the Russet Perry campaign, they need to guarantee people on 1,500 shifts between now and November 7th, right? That's because the flake rate is somewhat high. The Fagan's campaign down in Virginia Beach needs to get 1,200 shifts banked between now and the end of the election. So there's a lot of need for these final conversations with voters. So if you can make it out, that would be great. Obviously, not everyone can, or maybe you can't as much as you'd like to. So I do want to encourage you again to think about who are your favorite candidates that you might be able to support financially. I'm going to put a link in the chat to the October campaign finance reports that are now on VPAP. I think it's helpful to look and just see, of those campaigns that you're interested in, how are they doing? Are they ahead of their Republican opponents? How much cash do they still have on hand? So one thing I noticed was that a lot of the Democrats, they've done a great job fundraising, but they've also used that money, which, to be honest, thank God, right? I want them to use the money because I want to make sure that money has an impact on the race. I don't want them to wait until the last couple of days and think those final ads on TV are going to make the difference. That being said, you can also see that those are the campaigns that are going to continue to need some additional funding coming through these next weeks. So I do recommend checking out the finance report and thinking about if you can donate to a couple of more campaigns before the deadline. And then I do want to do a little bit of legislative discussion. So elections, super important, but as you know, the Virginia Grassroots Coalition believes if we're going to get Democrats elected, we also want to make sure democratic values and democratic issues are being pushed through and passed as legislation in the state. So we have a draft of our yearly legislative priorities letter, and I'm going to put the link in the chat. You can view the letter. It's still in draft form. There may be a couple of adjustments that we'll make before it gets sent out to legislators, but we're asking for grassroots groups to sign on to the letter. In the past, we've had, over 50 groups sign on to the letter, and it just shows to legislators how important these issues are to such a big variety of voters. So please check out the letter. And if you want to sign on, you can email me and I'll put my email in the chat along with that link. And then finally, we've got 2 calls to action. We want to make sure that when the Virginia FOIA Council meets in November, that we let them know about the importance of expanding meeting access online. We've learned during COVID, by letting people meet virtually, it allows folks who have families, right, who have kids, who have other responsibilities, or have difficulty, being mobile, allows them to participate in a way that we didn't see when these meetings had to be completely in person. So we want to encourage them to continue to expand that access. And then last but not least, there is a call to action for the Mountain Valley Pipeline. As usual, it's that ongoing fight, and your voice is really helpful in that as well. So there's a lot to do. If you can take some of these actions while you're listening to the great speakers today, we would really appreciate it. And hopefully you can find some time to knock on doors and or talk to voters wherever you encounter them. So thank you all. Couple more weeks to go, and hopefully we will have some really great results to celebrate afterwards.
I hope so, Louisa, and I'm going to be really excited to be with you in Chesapeake the end of October.
Yes, absolutely. I had so much fun canvassing in Chesapeake last time. I keep telling folks, and I was like, my packets were amazing. They were so easy to walk. None of the people had been contacted previously. I think that's the thing that I remember is, sometimes towards the end of an election cycle, some of these campaigns are doing a great job. So voters have been their doors have been knocked 3, 4, 5 times. It's kind of fun to go down to a place where it's a little concerning that they haven't heard from anyone yet, but it's nice for you to be that person, right? Where they do have an opportunity to ask questions. You can explain to them challenges that they might face with the absentee mail-in ballot, et cetera, and make sure that they know where their early voting sites are.
Yeah, so we'll do that. All right. Thank you again, Louisa.
Of course.
Right now, I'm going to be so excited to bring up CELINDA Lake. So for those of you who are just joining us, CELINDA Lake is the president of Lake Research Partners, and she's one of the most respected Democratic pollsters in the country. And in fact, for Joe Biden's race in 2020, she was one of the pollsters who supported the campaign. So CELINDA, welcome. I'm so excited to have you today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be with you and love the energy on this call.
Oh, wonderful. We'll spread the word and tell them all and have them join us on Friday. But I want to jump right into you because you are so packed with wisdom about polling, about the issues and what we should care about. And the one thing that I'll say is I went back and listened to what you said to Paige Gardner. I listened wherever you are, I try to find you. And I know that there was a lot of conversation the last time about conventional wisdom in terms of what we ought to be focused on. So if you would just share a little bit with us, whatever you want about yourself, but also about what is conventional wisdom in your polling telling us now about Virginia and what we should be focused on.
Great. Well, thank you. And so nice to be with all of you. And I want to give a shout out. There are probably many people, excuse me, on this call to shout out, but I want to shout out Andrea Miller, who I see on the call, who has done and will be releasing this coming week some amazing data on abortion and the abortion issue as part of ongoing research in Virginia and what an important role this issue is playing. So I am a pollster and we've been involved in the Virginia races. My partner, Josh Ulibarri, involved in a lot of the state legislative races. And it is really down to the wire. Frankly, so as goes Virginia, so goes the nation. People will really be watching what is happening in terms of turnout. What are women voters doing? What are our women candidates doing? And how is the abortion issue playing out? So no pressure, but as if Virginia weren't enough, the whole country and 2024 are depending on you. Women voters are very, very concerned about two things. And the nice thing is people go, well, isn't the abortion issue getting old? And it's like, well, until sex gets old, I don't think the abortion issue is getting old. But no, it's not waning at all. What we see are the economy and abortion as the top issues nationwide. 38% of voters are concerned, women voters are concerned about inflation, rising prices, 23 threats to democracy, and 20% abortion and women's rights. And I want to give a shout out to Fund for Feminist Majority. I saw many of my Virginia friends at that press conference celebrating 50 years of Ms. and releasing new data that shows how powerful these issues are. In Virginia, 22% of all voters are concerned about the economy, 21% are concerned about abortion. I will say this about Virginia. Virginia is the place where the conservatives have been most aggressive about pushing back on abortion. Mm-hmm. And I think for a while, they were making some progress with this so-called 15-week ban. And let's remember, Americans terrible at math, so they have no idea how many weeks there are in a pregnancy. And not too good at biology either, by the way. And now I think we're seeing people really push back hard and call the ban what it is, a ban, and a lot of great new language coming out. And I'd love Andrea to speak up at some point in the chat or whatever, because I think she's got some tremendous resources here. The country has remained very pro-choice. We saw about a 10-point surge in pro-choice attitudes, and that has been sustained since the election. We do see in 2022, we saw the anti-abortion side very complacent. We are not seeing that now. So we're energized and they're energized. Happily, we're more energized than they are, but it's important to remember that they're energized as well. They realize a lot is on the line. When we combine reproductive health care with contraception and keep the politicians and the government from interfering, nationwide, we get up to 74% and very similar numbers in Virginia as well, with some real intensity.
So Linda, I was going to say, so getting up to 74% now, and I want you to finish, but I also want you to talk about, like, so what do we do with that? So now we know, based on your polling, that abortion is going to be really important. And I do want to dig into inflation, because it feels like we're not making any movement. So should we talk about that? So I'll let you finish the most important things you want to say, but then I want you to come back and say, okay, now that we got it, what do we do with it?
Yeah, really good point. And let me move into your question right now, actually, because one of the things is, as you have been emphasizing on this call, GOTV is everything right now. We've got to get the vote out. The Republicans are quite energized, and Youngkin is putting a lot of money into that energizing. The great news is people have figured out that Youngkin is not pro-choice. He was Mr. Rogers, running with red sweater by day and Darth Vader at night. But now people have figured him out, and they figured out that he's not pro-choice. And they solidly favor the Democrats on abortion. But we need to get our vote out. And in any election, the side that has a presidential primary is usually more energized than the side that does not have a primary. So that is giving an artificial lift in energy to the Republican side. So we have to get our vote out. Younger voters, particularly people of color, suburban women. And abortion is very, very, very powerful in that regard. Some of the differences, over 78% of Democrats nationwide say both men and women say they are motivated by the abortion issue. But what's really interesting, and this is a key vote in Virginia, independent women are very motivated. 70% of independent women say the abortion issue is motivating them to vote 51% strongly. That compares to 50% of independent men. So the abortion issue, very mobilizing to young voters as well. One other thing I have to call out, because it's often an ignored issue, and is the Equal Rights Amendment. And of course, Virginia has played a key role in the equal rights struggle and fight. You were the last ones to get us over the top, although we're still not being recognized. Nationwide, 69% of voters support the Equal Rights Amendment, 57% strongly. Only 12% oppose the Equal Rights Amendment. And there's a real synergy between Equal Rights Amendment and abortion. We are not using the equal rights issue enough, and it's very salient. So as we think about this last wave, pushing on abortion, but also pushing on Equal Rights Amendment, equal pay, part particularly of getting women under 45 out to vote, who are a key target for us.
So it will be really great. So when I think about this, I also think about pivot points. And so one of the things I love about Grassroots is that we have the ability to pivot with our messaging, with our texting, with our phone banking. So how would you think about that over this? You heard us pinking out the vote over the last 15 days. And so when you hear that, what do you think about in terms of, okay, if I were you guys, stick with what you're doing with abortion, or do you need to pivot to do a better job of bringing in ERA? Talk to us a little bit about that. And I do want to hear about inflation, because we seem to struggle with that. And I would love to hear your comments about how to bring that in and how to make it center, up front and center.
Yeah. So I would say definitely stay with abortion. I love the addition of equal pay, equal rights amendment. I think we're really underutilizing those issues. The other thing is we're really at a critical pivot point in Virginia because of how aggressive the other side has been on the 15-week ban. And we have the ability to be quite aggressive in our responses, talking about that this is a ban, talking about the fact that these decisions should not be made by politicians. They should be made by people and their doctors. Talking about the fact that every pregnancy is unique. Things can go, different things can happen at different points in a pregnancy. And that is very, very strong as part of our response to 15 weeks. So I think that Youngkin is going to turn up the heat on the 15-week ban, and we got to be sure that we're really responding aggressively and clearly on that, and don't get bogged down because we have clear messaging. Inflation's really frustrating because the voters are absolutely convinced the economy's in bad shape, and of course, there's been lots of economic progress. But one of the things that is problematic right now is that this economy feels very uncertain, very unstable to voters. And always when we've had inflation in the past, people have just wanted to turn the curve down, bend the curve. Now people want to return to the levels that they were at pre-COVID. And of course, that is not going to happen. And people will say things like a Latino male in one of our focus groups said, what difference does it make if I'm making $15 an hour if skirt steak costs $14 a pound? So that's what Americans are facing. First, we have to be in touch with those concerns. Secondly, we should call out corporate price gouging, and we should lead with healthcare costs and prescription drug costs. These are the issues where Democrats have the biggest advantage right now. Democratic women, by the way, have a particularly high advantage on that issue. And so talking about the fact, acknowledging, yes, people are feeling pain. It is a struggle out there. It is very uncertain. That's why you want someone on your side. That's why you want someone who will take on the price gouging, supports getting healthcare costs down, which are on the rise again. We just got our bill from our broker in our firm, 20% raise next year in our healthcare premiums. I have to tell you, that was like, whoa, that's shocking. Yeah. And the average in the district is 18 to 23%. I don't know what it's like in Virginia, but I bet because we're all in the same area, pretty similar. So really talking about the fact that we get it and we're the ones that are going to take on this price gouging and do something about it.
Yeah, I always say the question is, who do you trust?
Yeah.
So it has to be a question of trust. Who do you trust is really going to listen to you? Who do you trust who's going to actually get things done or really work hard to get things done? So I am so appreciative of all that you've shared with us today. Thank goodness this is recorded, because now I can go back and write down everything that you said. And Andrea Miller is going to hopefully be in the after chat, and she'll be able to add some additional color to the things that you said. So Linda, I am so excited to have had this opportunity today. Is there anything that you want to leave us with before you go? And I know you won't be in the after chat.
Yes, and I apologize that I can't be there. Got to rush to win races everywhere. One thing I would say is don't be distracted by the so-called Liberty moms and all of the rumors that, suburban women that cost us the gubernatorial election. Not true. It wasn't actually parents. It was the Silver seniors. That's just absolutely not true. And the Liberty moms' agenda of being anti-choice for banning books. And I love Red Wine and Blue. Thank you for your leadership, putting the banning books issue front and center. Very, very strong with people. And remember, don't get distracted. People overwhelmingly in Virginia are dedicated to good public schools. They're overwhelmingly dedicated to our children being taught the good and the bad of our history so they don't make the mistakes we've made. And people are like, yeah, hello. This is, I think, Joe Biden's shortest answer and one of his most popular answers. When he's asked CRT, he says, I just think our kids should be taught the truth. Bam.
That's it.
Bam.
Bam. So Linda, thank you so much. Catherine, do you want to say anything?
No, just awesome. I just was listening intently. Thank you so much. We've really looked at your research and we've been using it in our messaging. Thank you so much.
You.
Don't get distracted.
Don't get distracted.
Amen.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you so
much. Thanks for all you do. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Gosh, that was like dreamy and wonderful.
Yes, it was.
I know this crew in here is listening intently too, and I have to say that we're spot on with our Pink Virginia campaign. And I have to say, flamingos have actually landed in Virginia as part of the campaign. They came from California, and if you saw the news, they're in Chicoutimi. So even the flamingos are pinking Virginia, and they're with us. And I think that's the kind of energy we need. So I would love to bring up our next guest, Wayne Liebman, the founder of Blue Voter Guide. Let's just get right to it, Wayne. Are you just like super impressed with that presentation? And were you also listening intently?
You guys are awesome. That was amazing. I am so glad to be here among you.
Well, and your history and an old peace hippie. Would love to have the old, activists your whole life. I think this room is really full of activists like yourself, and we're so grateful because you're in tune with what's going on. So let's talk about this Blue Voter Guide. Let's get straight to it. And we're really talking about this particular vote because of the confusion with we were redistricted. The ballot is a challenge. We have a new rules around how to fill out the absentee vote, ballot and so on. And you went ahead and you are working on this Blue Voter Guide, and explain to us why this was important to you, why you felt this was really necessary.
Should I go with my slides?
Go with it. Do your slides and tell your story. Let's rock and roll.
Okay.
Let's go. I love your presentation, and you could tell us your story. Go.
So thank you so much. Why is Blue Voter Guide different from all other voter guides? Because it's laser focused on turnout, and it works by solving the number one voting problem, which is confusion about who to vote for, especially down ballot. You go to bluevoterguide.org, you enter your address, and we show you what's on your ballot. And for each candidate, judge, and measure, you'll see a list of endorsements from trusted progressive organizations. It's an X-ray of who supports whom. So you can make informed, confident choices in minutes instead of hours. Save it, print it, share it. You've unleashed your full voting power so we can win up and down ballot in all the states that are active now and all 50 states in 2024. It's partisan, meaning we don't offer information about Republicans. We list them, but you can't choose them when you build your guide. Now, this is where we started in 2018. It was a one-page grid on the SoCal Blue website. Each row was a ballot measure. Everybody was very confused in California about their ballot measures. And each column was an endorsing organization. And so we filled in the boxes with a yes or no so you could look across a row and get the picture. It's the x-ray of who supports what. And this was wildly successful, very popular. Thousands used it. It had never been done before, to our knowledge. And it was different because it was partisan and it worked by endorsements. So we figured we were onto something, which gave us another idea. We decided to do it for the entire ballot. We shopped around for a national data vendor who collected the election information. We signed a contract to purchase their data. Then we set about building the website and researching, that's our part, the endorsers, which we added to the display. Now, the vendor initially did not have every down ballot race, but they had all statewide races and state legislative races, and they're constantly increasing their scope, and their ambition is to give us data for every down ballot race by 2024, but they're not quite there yet. I'll say more about that in a bit. So this is what Blue Voter Guide looks like now, live on the web, active in 8 states. I'm going to show you more in a bit, but I want to say why we think it's so important. So, trick question. Who won the 2016 election? So here's the Orange Menace. He got 27% of eligible voters, about 63 million. Hillary did better. She got 28.5% initially, nearly 66 million, although she lost in the Electoral College. But there's another group. People who could have voted but didn't. 100 million of them, they won the election. They beat Trump, they beat Hillary. And the number of non-eligible voters is falling, but it's still considerable. So the Knight Foundation did a deep dive into non-voters by looking at a large sample. They called this the 100 Million Project. And here we're looking at the barriers to voting reported by young voters. On the bottom left, we see over a quarter of them didn't vote because of uncertainty about the candidates. And then there are the people on the top right who needed help telling real news from fake news. And there may be some overlap, but what this is telling you is that from a quarter to a half of young people had trouble voting because they didn't feel they had enough information or they didn't trust the information they had. So the Knight study broke down the reasons further, summed up in a t-shirt. Young people were not engaging with the news. It had become noise. Here's an article from the LA Times about a young guy who didn't vote. This is what he said, quote, "I don't know how to do this. It's like a huge step. I don't want to make the wrong decision." And this is John Della Volpe. He's director of polling at Harvard Kennedy School. He's been studying young voters for 2 decades. And this is what he told Simon Rosenberg on Hopium a few weeks ago. Gen Z voters want to be perfect and have all their homework done, or else they will leave a ballot item blank. Wow. So how does it work? So this is a screen grab of what the guide looks like on the web. I've entered an address you can see there. And this is what comes up when you click build your guide. And you can see, I couldn't squeeze everything onto one screen. There's a bond measure at top, but I'm scrolling down. And the person who lives at this address will see all these races. So if you want more information about the candidates, you can actually click on them. And then if you want more information about the endorsing organizations, you can click on an endorsing icon. But these are the endorsing organizations that we list. This is the end of that ballot. And I want to show you a couple more things. The school board races are nonpartisan, so we use a gray background for that. But we can show who endorses the candidates and we can describe them. So you can see this one is a Democrat, and we let you know that. And you can see their endorsements. This is the Republican, so it helps you to differentiate. Further down in the House of Delegates race, this is a partisan race. So the Democratic candidate is blue, and you can see the endorsements. We do have a red bar. You can click on it if you want, and you can see the name of the Republican, but we don't have any information about him. You can't select him when you're building your ballot. We're not interested in helping people vote for Republicans. So I need to mention that this isn't the complete ballot for this address. There are some down ballot races that our data vendor hasn't gotten to at the moment. They're increasing constantly. But some will be missing. So we have a notice at the top of the review page, which is next. And as I mentioned, the vendor is still planning to add some races, and they're aiming to cover all races in 2024. So fingers crossed for that. So when you've made your selections, you click review your choices, and this is the final page. And it neatly lists all of your selections, and the message at the top explains that this may not show you all the races you can vote in. So you can go back and modify, print, save, and share. And there you have Blue Voter Guide.
I love it. I love it. And such a necessary thing. And that your big effort is going to be building this for 2024, all 50 states. That's a huge effort. So we wish you well on that effort. And I'm so glad you're able to be here today. If you could stay in the after chat, we'd love to have you in there.
I'll be here.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, we want to get to our next guest because, boy, we're power packing it in because we are here to learn about polls and power tools. Missy McGinnis, she is the Director of Distributed Organizing for Red, Wine, and Blue, and that's a DDO, just Director of Distributed Organizing. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, well,
I also really appreciated the shout out about Red, Wine, and Blue from CELINDA LAKE. Huge fan.
I know, and you guys have been Red, Wine, and Blue a couple years now. We've been working with you all, had the organization at the summit, working with Penny Blue, who's now the new director in Virginia, and it's been great and necessary with the book bans that we're even experiencing here. And also an Ohio friend. I was just up in Ohio, and we're going to connect when I come up there again. So let's just talk about where we are with this, the latest program. And if you want to, you can front load how you got here and why you want to expand this across the nation.
Sure. So exactly 1 month today, 1 month ago today, we launched our newest organizing program, which is called Trouble Nation. And so it's a distributed organizing program, and that is a mouthful. So if you want to just call me the Trouble Nation Program Director, that works too. Okay. And what we've done is we know that people all over the country, they're concerned about the rise of extremism. They want to better organize and have tools to better organize in their local communities. So we started Trouble Nation to help people better organize in their communities to fight this rise. You know, we have staff in 5 states, including Virginia. Penny and Laura Burry are fantastic. And I know they've just been doing amazing work in Virginia. But you know, in the other 45 states, even the blue ones, extremism is on the rise. So we want to help people strengthen and grow their grassroots organizations and have the tools they need to be successful. So, you know, what we have offered through this program is we offer groups a spot on a map. Right now, we did launch a month ago. We have 99 groups on the map. We only have 2 in Virginia, but I'm hoping this will change after today.
We submit ourselves, didn't we?
Yeah. Not yet. So we need to get you on there. I'll drop links. And I know you're all really busy right now, but you know,
yes, we'll get on.
Take long or do it right after the election because we want to be as strong as possible for 2024. But we don't stop there with just getting the spot on the map. You know, we have what group leaders want. You want to grow. You want content. You want some training and leadership tools. You want to connect with other leaders, you know, within your state and around the country. And you want things to give your group members that are actionable items. So we have all of that. And we're really excited about this program. It's been a huge success so far.
Yeah, and I like the 2-prong that we talked about. You know, leaders like ourselves or groups like ourselves may need different things, and you recognize that there's individuals that need to find a group or can use the tools you're offering to grow that leadership up to something. Like, I know we've got some new young leaders that we helped. Then we helped them find you, and then you help them actually build the organization, which has been awesome. So I think that's really great, and I think it's really needed.
Exactly. So, you know, we are looking at the groups because, as you said, they are at different levels of experience, and so we have a Trouble Nation 101 program that's actually happening right now for groups who are just getting started or they just need a lot of tools. We're also planning a 301 and a 501 option, so more advanced organizing and advocacy tools to help, you know, more established groups like you, like a lot of the people who are on this call right now. Those will be launching in early next year so that groups can really get as strong as possible as they work towards the 24 election.
Yeah, because I think we're going to need it. When you say the rise of extremism, and it is everywhere, it is so true. And returning back to my Ohio and seeing a Confederate flag in my neighborhood, and I'm like, well, we won that Civil War. We're from Ohio. And to see a Confederate flag down the street, I'm like, what the hell? It's racism. It's everything bad bubbling up. And so we're so glad that Red, Wine, and Blue it's in that fight and making good trouble. So thank you. And we will be in touch so we can get on the map. And I know there's a lot of groups in here. If you drop your information in, please talk to Missy and get on that. Get on it. And for now, any words?
I'll stick around.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, please do.
Yes. And so, excuse me, I'm going to jump right into Jenny. So
let's go.
Jenny up. So for those just joining, we're going to talk to Jenny Fristick about SwipeBlue, which I love. And so, Jenny, I'm going to let you jump right in and talk about why SwipeBlue is such a great tool and why everybody should be using it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Fennell. And I'm so excited about the other tools and groups that we've been discussing so far. I love the power lunches, and very excited to share SwipeBlue with you all. So I'm going to put a link in the chat so that while I'm talking, please feel free to download SwipeBlue if you haven't already. You can search in the App Store, SwipeBlue, one word, or it's swipeblue.org/app if you go to that on your phone, and use the partner code VA for a Network Nova and Virginia Grassroots version of this app. And the goal of SwipeBlue, which is a free relational organizing tool, is to make it as easy as possible for all of us to reach out to the people we already know about voting and engage them in this election. So we know the most effective way to get voters to turn out is to hear from someone they know, a friend, even an acquaintance, makes much more of an impact than hearing from someone you don't know. And SwipeBlue uses voter file data and information to look and show you who in your contacts are the likely progressive voters, so you can feel confident looking through this list in the app and texting them about voting, and you don't need to worry about, I don't know how this person votes, or I'm uncomfortable reaching out to them. So we take that mystery out of it. And in the app, when you download SwipeBlue and you use the partner code VA, you'll see we have two main campaigns. One is a GOTV in Virginia campaign. So it has a template text, and you can always change the text before you text your friends. You can change it to whatever you want. You can save your new text, but we'll give you a draft to start with. And you send them a reminder about voting to make sure they have all the information they need. And the other campaign is for those friends that you're pretty sure they've either already voted or they're activists like yourselves. We want you to reach out to them to share this opportunity for them to then use SwipeBlue themselves to reach out to their networks. So we can just expand the number of people we're reaching out to. And Fennell, I'll turn it back over to you. I know you've been an awesome SwipeBlue user, and you've really been able to share it far and wide. So we're so excited to be working with you all.
Yes, and I'll just say this: it's mobile, so I've never used it on an iPad or anything. So it is for your mobile phone. Is that right?
Yep. Yes. It's an app for your phone. Exactly.
It's the only thing that I've used, and just as I know we're short on time, so she can give me the time as soon as when she's ready. But to me, it is a tool that is easy enough for you to share and teach other people to use. And that's what I love about it, is its simplicity. And you might have said this. This is where everybody can get engaged. 29 times more likely to listen to something from a friend or family member than from a stranger. So if you don't have this on your phone, you're not making the earth move under your feet. And you got to kick up some dirt first. And this is your way of kicking up a little bit of dirt.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Fennell. Thank you all.
Well, yeah, I hope you stick around if you can in the after chat, because I have questions. I just had to laugh. So it's already questions like, I put my cell phone in, my two kids come up, but not me. So maybe my home phone I have to use. So those are the kind of questions we'll go at in the after chat with you.
Thank you.
I know we've been doing SwipeBlue for a while now, so we know we just didn't want to go too long with that segment, but because we know we're going to just be having trainings, we're going to be doing that and keep doing it. So I'm excited to get to our power candidates that are on the ballot. Like I told the audience, we are in Roanoke. We drove down here yesterday, Stare and I, and we are just excited to do some canvassing and postcarding for Trish White Boyd, who's running for Senate and Senate 4. And then Sam Rasoul is here running our delegate, our grassroots wonderful delegate. Let's just bring Sam Rasoul up. He is now running in a new named district. You're a House District 38 guy now, right?
Yeah, that is right. That is right. We're in 38, but my new district is competitive, but I don't have a competitor. So we're all in the House focused on Lily.
Hey, Lily Franklin. I know. And so let's talk about, well, it's funny. Do you know Lily? I am supposing.
I do. So first, let me tell you, Lily contacted me like 6 or 7 years ago. She saw an ad. She's like, hey, I want to work for your office. I interviewed her. She did horrible in the interview. She contacted me again a few days later and said, I know you're going to be in town. I would like to come in for an in-person interview. I brought her in. She interviewed. She's like, look, I'm a teacher. I'm working in Teach for America, yada, yada, yada. And she proceeded to bomb the interview again. And then at the end of the interview, she realized she was not doing well. She's like, look, I'm from Roanoke and all I want to do is help people. And I was like, oh, I can work with that.
I love it.
I said, well, Lily, if you're serious about it, it's Friday. She wanted to interview on Friday night while I was back from session. I said, I'm going to be in Richmond on Monday. If you're serious, just show up in Richmond on Monday and see if you like the work. She showed up and the rest is history. She was my chief of staff for 5 years. Now she's running in the neighboring district. She is rocking it. She has raised, I don't know, $600,000. She has a field campaign that's been going on for a year. She's up on TV, really killing it in a district that is our best shot in the western half of the state to pick up a House seat. It is tough being the chairman of a caucus of one, the Southwest Virginia Democratic Caucus, which is just me. I'd love to double that with my friend Lily.
I think Trish too. We have good numbers on Trish. I was talking to some of the women in the Senate, and they just are very excited about Trish's race. But so I'm so excited about that because we work with Lindley too. We've known you now for years. You've supported us in all our grassroots efforts. And then Lily has always been an advocate and always a person we could turn to do. She just knows the back of a bill, the front of a bill, and this is who we need in there right now. So I'm sitting in your hometown, my first trip in. What a beautiful drive. And I think to myself, this is why you live here. It's really, really gorgeous. And what an interesting, let's talk about Roanoke just real quick while we have a couple minutes. Interesting history, very racially diverse, very much. I walk down the street, a lot of history making people here, from teachers to A.J. Oliver to like 4 Tuskegee Airmen. This is a rich area of history. I'm just interested in just kind of talking about Roanoke for a couple minutes and your love of this area where you've raised your family and run for office and serve constituents. You know, it's and you're just doing it daily. So let's talk a little bit about Roanoke. What's that star on the top of the hill?
Yeah, this is the place I grew up in. Certainly, I love Roanoke. If you haven't visited, come on down. You will see what we're all raving about. And we've certainly seen it evolve over the years. Fun fact, so we have, I think, the largest or maybe the second largest man-made star in the world that is on the side of this mountain. That's why we're nicknamed the Star City. And Scott Suravel, his family member actually wired the star. It lights up at night. And so he was, and his mother is from this area, from the Roanoke Valley. So we're all tied into Roanoke in one way or another. Yeah, Roanoke has historically been a very not only diverse, but going back in history, a segregated city over the course of time, and urban renewal really hit us in several different ways. But we've grown and we've developed, and we're excited to have you all, Network Nova, in the greater Roanoke and New River Valley. But let me say this. This point is important. This is what differentiates our side from the other side. We understand. You look at a map and you see, oh my God, it's all red over there. And you have this tiny little blue dot that's Sam Rasoul. But the difference is that rooted in our values as Democrats, we believe in equity. We believe that we fundamentally need to show up everywhere and be fighting for all of the voices that need us. And so while it's so easy for the polls, for the consultants, for other folks to say, oh, there's not a bunch of votes out there, there are millions of people who are in some of these redder areas who are depending on us to show up. So that's why we thank Network Nova and Catherine. Yes, and the team for showing up.
Let's get Trish, if she's in the room, up here and say hi to her, because we're going to be running over to her office at 2. I see Mark Lazar in the room as well. Trish, hello. We're in your neck of the woods. Let's talk about your race.
Welcome to Roanoke. Looking forward to having you here, Catherine and Stan. I don't know who else is coming, but I'm excited. Come on now, come on, we're ready. Yes. We are really doing well. Things are going well. I feel that we are on a path to win this, and we are all ready. Our grassroots game is really good. Of course, we're like everybody else. We need more volunteers to hit the ground for us, but we're up on TV. We've got those digital ads running. We're just ready to go. I'm excited because things look really, really good for us here. So we're ready to go. We're looking forward to it.
Well, just a background on you for people who don't know why we like to come out and why Network Nova has always tried to expand, and with Sam's help was always an advocate for that, getting outside your bubble, loving everybody, coming across Virginia and making sure Democrats show up everywhere. That's been really important. Let's talk about why you're running.
Well, I'm running because I've had the experience in local government for the last 5 years. I'm a business owner. I have a small business. I've been running for about 20 years, employing dozens and dozens of employees. And I've always been a part of the community. I've always been a community activist. And when Senator Edwards decided to retire, we started thinking, we really don't want to lose the only Democratic representation that we have here in Southwest Virginia. Like Sam said, he's the only blue spot. We're going to have probably 3, including Lily, maybe more. So, we just felt like it was time for somebody to step up. And Senator Edwards is retiring. He should. 28 years of excellent service. He has done an amazing job. But I understand after 28 years, it was time for him to retire. So I thought this would be a wonderful opportunity for me to continue to represent this region, Southwest Virginia. And I understand Southwest Virginia. I've been here for 40 years, and what better person than me, somebody that's already known in the community, somebody that's already working in the community, and I think I have what it takes to win this, and we're looking forward to it.
I love it. So just so you know, we are going to pack up here soon and come over to your office and do some great work. And so thank you.
And have some lunch, because we didn't eat lunch.
Oh, I didn't eat lunch either. Well, maybe that would be nice, right? And then if you want to join us today, we will be out at the Big Lick around 5 o'clock in Roanoke. Anybody out there in Roanoke? We'll see you there. So thank you, Trish White Boyd, and for being here. And Sam Rasoul, we'll see you, my friend, in a little bit. And thank you to everybody on the Power Lunch. Let's wrap up with Fennell coming in and jumping in real quick, because we're going to jump to the other side and continue this because we're up on the hour. But I have to say that I don't know, I'm just freaking excited. This show was just great.
Yeah, right? It was a great show today. And so one way to keep the momentum going is to set higher goals. And so we've got goals for the next 15 days. There's all kinds of things people can do. It reminds me of Melody Copper, who sent out a fantastic article in the newspaper that she got in the Virginiapolitics from our little Eastern Shore because Republicans wouldn't show up. So there's all kinds of things we can do.
Yes, and I'm going to say thank you when I want to say about our Patreon subscription. We got a few new patrons today. Sam Rasoul joined in, and also Harriet Herschel. Thank you. And I saw Dolly enter the room as well, Dolly Langa, who's been supporting us. It means a lot to invest in grassroots women, to doing this work. We meet every day, and for the love of just our, it's almost like our country and of each other and of democracy. And we just feel this urgency with this election. So we're glad you're in the room with us. We are going to say thank you to everybody and jump to the other side because we need to hustle out of here. And Fennell will be in the after chat, making sure that we continue this conversation and really get into power. So join Pink Virginia. We will be sending out those links of action. Join us on Tuesday with Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, who will be kicking off Women Talking to Women on Tuesday, October 24th. And we'll continue for 15 days doing some awesome pink shit. Let's just do it. And then and then next Friday, Tom Bonnier is going to be here. Tom Bonnier is going to tell us how we look in the voting polls. He was it'll be great to have Tom on, and then we're just going to rock out the show. So thank you to our guest, CELINDA Lake, also to Missy McGinnis. We also had on Wayne Liebman from Voter Guide. Am I missing anybody else?
Jenny Fristick, SwipeBlue.
Jenny, yeah, because we're going to do more SwipeBlue in the after chat and our candidates. Okay, let's wrap up, Robin.